April 20th, just a couple days away from the time of this recording, Lexus revealed their all-new electric vehicle, the RZ 450e. So in today's video, we're going to break down everything we know about the RZ 450e and also the latest image Lexus has shared with us. Over the Lexus press room, Lexus announces a new battery EV RZ on April 20th. I will not be live streaming it. It will be at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But come back later in the day on the 20th. I should be live streaming my thoughts and wrapping up everything we have officially about the RZ 450e on this coming Wednesday. We do have a launch site, and it takes us to this little recirculating video of this lady checking out her new RZ 450e. Hey guys, Future Kirk coming to you. While I was editing this video, I figured out that the vehicle this lady's plugging in is not the RZ at all. It's actually the UX300e, because that is the charging port location of the UX300e behind the right rear passenger door on the right rear fender. As we see in the image Lexus shared with us, is behind the front wheels. So, and that's exactly where the charging port is on the BZ4X, by the way. And we also don't have any signs of electric on the RZ 450e, at least the electric naming. But if you look at the UX300e, it says electric right here. And even this fender design and crease in front of the black plastic here is the exact same as what we see in this recirculating video. So Lexus being extra sneaky here, putting in their Asia and European exclusive UX300e in this hype video, which, yeah, only the headlights, right, that what you saw right there, only the headlights are actually from the RZ 450e. The rest of it is from the UX300e. So let's get back into your regular programming from Kirk in the past. And then we look at the image here for the Lexus RZ 450e. We know we have the wraparound taillight, and we have, and I brightened this up by the way, we have our first ever production ready version of Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology from Toyota / Lexus. We don't know exactly how it's going to perform. We just know a lot of that power and torque can be biased towards the rear wheels. We also have this really pointy deck lid spoiler that looks a bit shark toothy to me. These images we've had for a few months now, so nothing there. If we head over to the Lexus Japanese site, and they have a launch site at YouTube, so that's where you guys, if you want to watch it live for the first time, will be watching it. Maybe me as well. I don't know if Lexus plans on sharing it. I think they're keeping all the media in the dark about this, I'm pretty sure, but we'll see. And they're calling it the Voice of the Earth is the theme for the reveal. Now, we don't have official details on the RZ 450e, but we can actually get pretty close here because we know Blue Nexus, one of Toyota's invested companies, alongside of Denso and Aishin, which provides so many products on the Denso side, like it's a huge part supplier, but also Aishin, which has traditionally provided their transmissions. So Toyota, Denso, and Aishin have formed Blue Nexus, this superpower group, to provide the inverters and motors for not only their hybrids, but for their electric vehicles going forward. And we didn't know exactly where Toyota was getting their motors for their all-new electric vehicle, the BZ4X, until this official press release right here from Blue Nexus. And they are actually making the e-axles for Toyota's BZ4X. So I think it's safe to say that Blue Nexus will be giving their motors for the new RZ 450e. And of course, the Solterra is included in this as well. We know Denso will be providing current sensors, electrical supply units, heat pumps, as well as a radiant heating system, which I tested out in the BZ4X Limited model. I don't think it's in the Solterra at all, at least here stateside. Other Denso products on the BZ4X Solterra and likely the RZ 450e will be more sensors, which monitor battery voltage and temperature. They'll be supplying the battery ECU as well as the inverters. So if we go back to Blue Nexus, they have a lot of general information here on their motors. Now, this one comes to mind because there's very little specs on it when we get down to the bottom. That's not what's going to be in this vehicle. I'm expecting the exact same motors that we already see on the BZ4X and Solterra to be slotted in, but just slightly different configured. So the BZ4X and the Solterra, and the all-wheel drive trim anyways, have two 80 kilowatt motors, which are not technically listed on here, but they're different. So one is more of this style for the front axle, and one is more of this style for the rear axle. And this style is also in the front wheel drive BZ4X with 150 kilowatts. So we know this motor is actually capable of producing at least 150 kilowatts or 201 horsepower, because we see that in the BZ4X. And this one's actually rated at 80 kilowatts in the BZ4X in the Solterra, this low height rear motor. This one comes to mind because this looks like an induction motor to me. It's a very different technology than what we see with these permanent magnet motors above. And in theory, they're not quite as efficient, but they are way cheaper to manufacture. You can still get huge amounts of power and torque out of them. And we are going to see them in premium cars for Lexus, performance cars likely as well. Tesla uses them in their Model S as well as X, and the Model 3 and Y use more of your traditional permanent magnet motors that the BZ4X is using. But we won't see an induction motor, I don't think, until we have a really high performance electric car coming from Lexus and Toyota. And if we go to the spreadsheet, this is what I'm expecting from the RZ450e. Is just over 300 horsepower, essentially them mixing the front wheel drive motor of the BZ4X front wheel drive version with the all wheel drive rear motor. So we're getting a combination of 308 horsepower, 320 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 around 5.5 seconds. And how does this stack up against its competition here? Well, I'm also taking a stab at the battery size. Lexus has said that it makes more sense to put bigger batteries, more expensive batteries in the Lexus end compared to the Toyota brothers and sisters on the same platform. So I'm expecting Lexus to do their best, try to get closer to that 300 miles with a larger battery pack, and the starting price would be at least $60,000. The downfall, at least in the beginning of 2023, because this vehicle will be available by the end of 2022, but it will only have about 1/4 of the full tax credit, as Toyota is ending or running out of their tax credits unless legislation or lawmakers change how the tax credits work. We won't have the full tax credit in the Q1 of 2023 for not only the BZ4X, but also the RZ450e. So the tax credit will be halved in Q1 and they'll be halved again. So it'll just be 1/4 of what it was in Q4 of 2022 than what it will be in Q2 of 2023, if that makes sense. I'm kind of confusing myself. Hopefully you guys can stay with me on that. Now, we have another Asian EV coming out from Genesis on the luxury side, and that is going to have 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque. This is a very similar power output than what we have in the Ioniq 5, for example. 0 to 60 should be in around 5 seconds, and I'm thinking it's going to be a slightly smaller vehicle than the RZ450e, but we don't have official dimensions really. I'm not expecting the Genesis to come close to 300 miles. We know it gets around 250 miles or so in the all-wheel drive Ioniq 5, which is the same sort of power source. Starting price should be in the mid-50s for that vehicle. And there's also the GV70 fully electric vehicle coming out, which in theory would be more of a direct competitor to the RZ450e. We don't know exactly when it's hitting the market, just like the GV60 here stateside, but it should be significantly more expensive, I'm expecting, not only than the GV60, but also the RZ450e. The established EV on the market for the luxury automakers, and I'm not including Tesla because I put them in warp tier as well as fast tier. I don't consider Tesla a luxury brand. You guys always have comments about that as well. Anyways, e-tron has 355 horsepower and 414 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 should be right there with the RZ450e. Battery size in theory should be a little bit smaller. That's just my guess, but we know for sure that the Audi has 87 kilowatts and the range is only 222 miles on the Audi e-tron. It's not very impressive in terms of range, but they've really loaded it up as a luxury vehicle, so it's fairly heavy as a result. Now you can get into the e-tron still for under 70K, and I think that's where we're going to see the RZ come in. Lexus has to price the RZ very aggressively because they're running out of the tax credit. That's just my opinion. They will probably still sell out, even if they price it exorbitantly, they'll probably still sell out of every single RZ450e that they can make for the first few years until more competition comes, prices come down on batteries and motors, etc. Cadillac is coming out with a Lyriq, which will also be shared with the Acura EV, but we don't know the Acura EV's name. That Acura version will be coming out in 2024, but the Lyriq has already is beginning production already, I believe. So that vehicle should also be super competitive with the e-tron and the RZ450e. The Lyriq to me looks to be more of a larger vehicle, maybe with the GV70, sort of that that size. And the iX from BMW just came out as well. This thing is on a different tier in terms of performance, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. This is more of like a Tesla sort of performance vehicle, but it's, like I said, it's more of a luxury car traditionally. Battery size is really big compared to its competition. 105 kilowatts, guys. It's huge. So best case scenario, you're getting like 300 miles on the iX, and it starts at 83, but I've seen many publications have theirs equipped around $100,000. So this is in a different price tier altogether compared to what seemingly its direct competition. But that's all we know for right now on the Lexus RZ 450e. I can't wait to see how close I'm going to be on some of these things, and I'm happy to be wrong because I like surprises. Hopefully they're good surprises on this vehicle. I think the BZ4X was a very conservative but a very well executed EV. If you haven't seen my driving impressions on that Toyota EV, go ahead and check that out. I was very impressed with its power delivery, its fit and finish, and overall build quality and ride quality as well. And that was a prototype, so I can't imagine what it's going to be on a production model. And if the build quality was that good on a pre-production Toyota, how good is it going to be on a production Lexus RZ 450e with even more strict tolerances, more skilled and tenured workers working on the Lexus end of it. But I'll see you guys on the day of the reveal, whether it's through a live stream or a video that I'll have up detailing everything we know officially by that time of the RZ 450e. But I'm going to end it there. Definitely stay tuned for more Japanese and Korean auto news, Lexus news as well. I'm getting another LC500 convertible for review this week. I can't wait. That's like Lexus's best vehicle right now. So anyways, maybe it was one of its best vehicles of all time as well. I got to cut myself off. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button, subscribe for more. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.